One organization is able to impact thousands of women here in San Diego, and this morning, the San Diego Women's Foundation is shedding light on the issue of human trafficking. Joining me now with their latest announcement and how you can get involved is Executive Director Katie Sawyer. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so thank you for coming in and talking about a subject that isn't easy to talk about. It's human trafficking, and one of the statistics that I saw after a report by Point Loma Nazarene University, they released this report saying that the second largest underground economy after drug trafficking, which everybody knows about, everybody talks about, is human trafficking.
Yes, it is. And that's here in San Diego County. It's nearly $1 billion industry, over $800 million a year. And that's sex trafficking alone, not even counting labor trafficking. And with sex trafficking, there are an estimated 3,000 to 8,000 victims each year here in San Diego County, coming right from our neighborhoods. And what's really scary is to hear the statistic that they're being recruited as young as middle school. So kiddos being recruited from middle and high schools right here in San Diego County.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, because this is something that, you know, I was just telling you in the commercial break, you see it in the movies, you see it in the TV shows. It's just really so hard to understand that it's happening in our schools, it's happening in our community, it's happening right here. And you're saying it's happening at the middle school age they're targeting?
Right. The average age of recruitment into sex trafficking is just 16, and that's the average, so it means it's happening a lot younger too. And a big misconception about sex trafficking is that San Diego is such a hot spot because of our proximity to the border, which isn't true. 80% of sex trafficking victims in our community are domestic-born U.S. citizens. So they're kiddos coming from our neighborhoods, being recruited at school, often from vulnerable populations. So
I was going to ask you, how is that recruitment going down? Because they have to know they have a soft target, soft enough at least to be brainwashed into this.
Right. It's not exclusively from these vulnerable populations, but what we see, what the research shows, is that it's often foster youth, victims of previous instances of domestic abuse or sexual abuse, kiddos coming from families with recent divorces, so where there's just not stability at home, because they're seen as easier targets. And they're being recruited by either, it's usually girls, either other girls at school or an older boy who just starts paying attention and buying them things. And these are kiddos who are often starved for attention.
And so they buy into this thinking that they're going to be treated special, that they're going to be loved, but in actuality, what happens?
Well, there's usually a grooming period, right, where they're making new friends, where they're getting expensive gifts, maybe manicures, maybe purses. And then oftentimes what happens is that they go to a party with their new group of friends, they're drugged, they're abused, compromising photos are taken that they would never want their family and friends to see, and before you know it, they've got blackmail material, and these girls are just sucked in. And then over time, they're coerced into committing crimes, so they either have a rap sheet or could get a rap sheet, and they just get pulled further and further into the life, and it's harder and harder to escape over time.
Yeah, it's like the light out is at that point so far away, so do they just have to give in?
And what's scary is that it takes an average of 3 years for law enforcement to be drawn attention to an individual person being in sex trafficking. And the average survival rate is only 7 years. So after 7 years, it's either a drug overdose or a violent death. So
okay, but you've got a program going on through some grants that you want to shorten that noticing period and do something about it. Quickly tell us about it.
Yes, Women's Foundation members have said loud and clear that it's time for this to change. We can't have this going on in our community. So our next round of grant funding will support programs to combat and prevent human trafficking here in San Diego County.
And if somebody wants to get involved in this?
If you want to apply for funding, if you're doing work in this arena, go to our website, sdwomensfoundation.org. If you want to join with us as a member or learn more about the issue, we have an event coming up, our grants kickoff on August 28th, featuring District Attorney Summer Stephan, an expert in the field. She's been working to combat human trafficking for years in our community. That's on August 28th. It's open to members, guests, and anyone interested in learning more.
It's not a fun and easy topic, but it's very clearly needed. So keep up the work and keep us posted with any way that we can help as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Katie, thank you so much. We've got more coming your way on Good Morning San Diego after the break. Stick around.